What they don't tell you about addiction. Well, have you ever asked yourself, why is it so hard to quit an addiction? Maybe you're struggling. Maybe it's someone you love. Either way, you've probably heard people try to explain it as moral weakness, bad decisions, or simply a lack of willpower. But what if that's all wrong? What if addiction isn't about the addiction itself, but about something deeper, something you are missing? Today, I invite you to see things differently. Together, we'll explore how to reconnect with yourself and reclaim the life you deserve through creativity, a deeper understanding of your conditioning, and the science behind your cravings. I'll guide you in breaking free from the vicious cycle easily and instantly, without judgment, without shame. Are you ready? This is where your journey to freedom begins. What if addiction is a response, not a problem? It's easy to blame the drugs, the alcohol, the scrolling marathon on TikTok. But what are these things really doing for you? They seem to fill a void, but what created the void in the first place? But first, let us look at the science behind your cravings. Dopamine is your brain's ultimate cheerleader. Think of it as the DJ, spinning tracks every time something exciting happens. Enjoying a delicious meal, that's dopamine dropping the beat. Crushing a goal, dopamine hit. Savoring that first sip of coffee, dopamine's on fire. This chemical powerhouse fuels motivation and joy, rewarding behaviors that helped our ancestors survive, like eating, finding shelter, and building relationships. But here's the catch. In today's world, this reward system is constantly being hijacked. From cigarettes to endless TikTok scrolling, addictive habits flood your brain with massive dopamine surges. At first, it feels incredible, but when the volume's cranked too high, your brain starts to tune it out. Over time, those same habits lose their appeal, leaving you chasing the high instead of savoring the moment. The more you chase dopamine, the less your brain cares. Remember the rush of your first sip of coffee after pulling an all-nighter? Or the thrill of hitting buy on something you've been eyeing for weeks? Maybe it was the buzz of your first viral post or the adrenaline of leveling up in your favorite game. That initial high? Unmatched. But now, it's just meh. Here's the kicker. Dopamine doesn't play fair. Every high is followed by a crash, not just back to normal, but below it. Over time, the highs lose their spark, but the lows, they hit deeper and linger longer. That morning coffee doesn't energize like it used to. The shopping spree feels emptier. The game win, it's just another level. And there you are, stuck in the loop, craving more, feeling less. Dopamine is powerful, no doubt, but it's time to break free and take back the game. Are you ready? When life feels overwhelming, many of us crave relief, not solutions. Whether it's stress, loneliness, or fear, dopamine becomes a bandage for the wound, a scroll, a cigarette, or a snack. These quick fixes don't heal. They might feel like lifelines at first, but over time, they turn into shackles, leaving you chasing relief instead of finding freedom. Imagine this. Instead of battling your addiction, you sit with it and listen. What if it's not your enemy, but your teacher, revealing something you've ignored for too long? Let me tell you a story that could completely change how you think about addiction. Scientists ran an experiment called Rat Park, and the results were mind-blowing. In the first setup, a rat was stuck alone in a cage with nothing except a lever that gave it drugs. No fun, no friends, no purpose. Unsurprisingly, the rat got hooked, using the drugs non-stop until it couldn't live without them. But then, they switched things up. They created Rat Park, a huge fun space with tunnels, toys, and most importantly, other rats to hang out with. The result? The rats barely touched the drugs. Same lever. This experiment shows something powerful. When you have community and joy, you don't need the escape. Connection changes everything. Now think about this in human terms. When you rebuild real connection to loved ones, your environment, yourself, addiction starts to lose its grip. True freedom isn't about fighting habits. It's about creating a life so fulfilling that those habits fade on their own. Shine a light on the shadow of addiction, and it vanishes. Yet even with this understanding, why does addiction persist? Because it gives the mind exactly what it craves: comfort, predictability, and security. The brain loves grooves, routines that require no thinking, whether it's smoking, scrolling, or checking your phone for the 100th time today. These patterns feel safe even if they're harmful. But here's a question. Can you observe the entire web of addiction, not thread by thread, but all at once? Can you notice them without getting drawn back in? Well, the challenge is this. The mind doesn't like the bigger picture. It prefers fragments. Work in one place, family in another, ambition tucked in one corner, and beliefs boxed away perfectly. Everything is separated, divided by invisible walls. This fragmented view stops us from seeing the truth. Addiction sneaks into the spaces between these boxes, feeding off the division. And even when we think we've spotted it, we're not as separate as we believe. That voice saying, "I need to stop craving chocolate," or "I shouldn't keep scrolling Instagram," is shaped by the same habits it's trying to fix. It's like mopping up water with a cloth that's already soaked. It only spreads the mess. So, what do? How do you break free when even the eye trying to fix the problem is caught in the loop? Start with this. I don't know. That's right. Embrace not knowing. Drop the need to fix, solve, or resist, and just watch. Curiosity, not control, is where real change begins. Not knowing and observation are the antidotes. Imagine looking at a maze, not from within, stumbling blindly, but from above, seeing every path, every dead end. Observation doesn't divide or label, it simply reveals. When you view a habit not as a problem to solve but as something to find out and understand, it starts to lose its grip. Take smoking, for example. Instead of battling the urge, simply observe the act. Notice the flick of the lighter, the curl of the smoke, and the inhale. Don't label it as bad or good, just see it for what it is. You're inhaling smoke into your lungs, and your body is clinging to it. That's it. No judgment, no analysis, just clarity. Clarity brings awareness. When you fully embrace each moment without resistance, you awaken a vibrant, present state of mind. This awareness fuels creativity, not as a skill, but as a natural way of living. So here's a big question. Is creativity just about making things, writing a poem, cooking a dish? Or is it something deeper, a way of seeing life that doesn't seek applause or recognition? So true creativity isn't necessarily about producing. It's about living with fresh eyes, free from habits without knowing, worries, or ambition. It's not always about doing, it's more about being. Yet, how often do we live like this? Most of us get stuck chasing goals so much, forgetting to simply exist. Here's the secret. Creativity can't be forced. The harder you try, the more it slips away. Like water, it flows naturally when you let go, when you stop overthinking and simply see the world as it is. But what stops us from being creative? It's the baggage we carry, the noise of the past, the knowing, the weight of comparison, the endless need to be something or someone. These mental addictions, whether to ambition, perfection, or approval, act like blinders, narrowing our vision and locking us into repetitive patterns. So, here is the question. Can you look at life without the filter of what you already know? Can you meet each moment as if it's brand new, not shaped by memory or expectation? Because the essence of creativity lies in this freshness, this openness. It's a state where the mind is alive and fully aware. When you observe your habits without trying to change them, something incredible happens. You begin to see their patterns, their roots, and most importantly, their limitations. Let me leave you with a simple question. What's one habit you noticed yourself doing today? Not judging it, not fighting against it, just observing it like a curious detective. Share it in the comments. Even if it's something like scrolling TikTok or opening the fridge for the 12th time, no judgment here. Here's another experiment. If you could swap one habit for something creative, like writing, painting, or even crafting a fun DIY project, what would it be? Share your ideas in the comments, and let's spark some creativity together. Oh, and don't forget, liking, subscribing, and exploring more videos here could be the start of a healthy new you. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.